My name is Maureen Potter, and I've been a volunteer at the cathedral for about 14 years now. I do various aspects of it: the education volunteering, the public tour volunteering, open treasure and stewarding. William, Duke of Normandy, was crowned William I of England on Christmas Day 1066. He knew then that he had to establish Norman rule in the Anglo-Saxon country. And one of the first steps he took was to replace any Anglo-Saxons who held important positions with Normans. This included the bishops in the country. So in 1071, William Vulture became the first Norman Bishop of Durham. What he didn't know at the time was that William had examined what he thought may be a problem in the north, the English-Scottish border. And William knew that he would not always be able to be in the north if there was any problem that he needed to see to. So he made the decision that he would give power to the bishops of Durham to be here should there be any need to cope with skirmishes across the border, invasions, or any kind of problem. The power that he gave to the Durham bishops was the following. First of all, he said, you can raise an army whenever there is a need. You can organize taxation. You can administer and manage justice. You can levy tolls and customs. And you can even print your own money with your own head on it. And we have still got, to this very day, in our treasury, many coins dating from those days nearly 1,000 years ago. These were indeed supreme powers, monarchical in character, and it was not any wonder that the bishops of Durham therefore became known first of all as the viceroys of the kings of England. But also, eventually, the word prince was attached to them because that seemed to sum up their power and their links with royalty. So the prince bishop's origin was with William the Conqueror. A very distinguished Scottish writer called Sir Walter Scott wrote a poem, and that one of those verses is actually printed on Prebend's Bridge in the city. And in that verse, he really captures the reasons for the buildings on the peninsula. He wrote, "How well I love those mixed and massive piles, half church of God, half castle against the Scot." In other words, with those words, he was capturing the reasons why William had created those prince bishops to defend the border with Scotland. But he ends that verse by saying, those records, well-kept records, long forgot. In other words, he realized that as the centuries moved on, the reason for the prince bishops was no longer necessary. Having said that, there were prince bishops all the way from the 11th century to the 19th century. And the last prince bishop was William Van Mildert. He has left a lasting legacy which resounds in Durham City to this day, and that is he founded Durham University. So a very important aspect from the last prince bishop. Altogether, there were about 50 of the prince bishops. The bishops today are not, of course, prince bishops, but there is a lingering honour for the present-day bishops of Durham, and that was epitomised by Arthur Michael Ramsay, who was the Bishop of Durham at the time when our present Queen Elizabeth II had her coronation. He was present at that coronation and very much an important part of the ceremony, and that is the lingering honour for Durham bishops to this day. Their princely past is reflected in how they are important in present-day coronations. And then we say to ourselves, the land of the prince bishops, you can find it in so many places in modern-day Durham. When you enter, for example, Durham County, it says, Land of the Prince Bishops. When you're in the city, you can go to the shopping mall and the main car park, both of which are named the Prince Bishop. And then the river cruiser is also called the Prince Bishop. And we even have a local bus that does the journey between Durham and South Shields, which is a beautiful purple palatinate colour. It carries a lovely drawing of a bishop's mitre and the words Prince Bishop. And the resonance of that title, Prince Bishop, I think reflects the fact of just how important a feature the Prince Bishops has been in historic Durham. Just to conclude, when you see that title Prince Bishop in the city, you also often see the cross of St. Cuthbert. And it seems so appropriate that those two are together, because although, of course, the Prince Bishops were important, Cuthbert, of course, St. Cuthbert, then the whole of the cathedral was built. St. Durham Cathedral, the shrine of St. Cuthbert. And it's the cathedral, the wonder of the cathedral, which is, of course, the spiritual heart of the city. Just before I finish, I will just say to you, those early Norman bishops actually set our city on the path to becoming the regional capital, and indeed, what it is to this day, a World Heritage Site, because William of St. Calais, the second Prince Bishop, actually laid the foundation stone for the wonderful cathedral we have today on August the 11th, 1093. The third bishop, Ranulph Flambar, he built the first bridge across the river, Framwellgate Bridge, and you can even see the history described on that bridge to this day. Hugh de Puiset, about the fifth of the Prince Bishops, he added on the Galilee Chapel for the ladies to worship in. And we think he also built the second bridge, Elvet Bridge. And of course, Richard Poor added the Chapel of the Nine Altars about 100 years after the cathedral was completed to accommodate all the pilgrims who were coming to Cuthbert's tomb.